Welcome back to another explainer. Guys, I am absolutely thrilled to have you here today because we are looking at a completely game-changing strategy outlined in our sources. We're going to unpack a blueprint for creating highly lucrative, USA-targeted kids' cartoons. And honestly, the wildest part about this, we are looking at a methodology that requires nothing more than your smartphone and free AI tools. You don't need a massive animation studio, you don't need expensive software, and you definitely don't even need to know how to draw. We're going to explore exactly how creators are leveraging artificial intelligence right now to tap into one of the absolute most profitable demographics on the internet based on our source set.
Okay, let's dive right into this. 4.8 billion. I really want you to just let that number sink in for a second, right? That is not a channel's total lifetime views. No, that staggering number is the view count on just a single kid's cartoon from our source data. That is literally more than half the population of the entire planet tuning in to one piece of content. This perfectly establishes the massive, unprecedented scale of the opportunity here when your content is aimed at young children. The replay value is practically infinite, and the audience size? Well, it's virtually limitless.
But hey, it's not just about racking up billions of views, it's really about where those views are actually coming from. As our sources highlight, there is a massive strategic advantage to targeting a US audience over a domestic one. Why? Simply because the ad rates in the US are significantly higher. Targeting an American audience can yield a treasure chest of up to 10 times the ad revenue for the exact same amount of views compared to a domestic audience in many other countries. It's literally a pure 10x multiplier on your effort. You put in the exact same work to make the cartoon, but strategically positioning it for the US market, that changes the financial outcome completely.
So, here's our roadmap for today's explainer. First, we'll cover the USA Kids Goldmine. Second, unlocking the monetization myth. Third, scripting with ChatGPT. Fourth, animating with YT Create. And finally, setting up for success.
Section 1. The USA Kids Goldmine, building a billion-view empire.
Let's look at a prime example from our source material, a channel called nnn TV Nursery Rhymes. The numbers here are just mind-blowing. Look at how this functions kind of like a content conveyor belt. By uploading around 750 videos, a channel like this built a literal YouTube empire, gaining over 20 million subscribers and generating multiple billions of total views. What this tells us is that consistency is absolutely the key to unlocking this demographic. They didn't just upload 5 videos and get lucky, right? They built a massive, rapidly growing audience by continuously feeding the algorithm. They turned a few hundred simple videos into a massive media library with tens of millions of loyal viewers.
Moving on to Section 2. Unlocking the monetization myth, addressing the biggest skepticism.
Now, if you've ever actually poked around a massive kids channel, you've probably asked yourself this burning question. Are these channels actually making any money? Because, when you look under their content, the super thanks button is completely missing. There's no join button for channel memberships. The comments are totally turned off. To an outside observer, it kind of looks like the channel has been heavily restricted or entirely demonetized by the platform. So what's actually going on here?
Well, this is where we uncover the reality of the situation, and it brilliantly illustrates that the missing buttons have absolutely nothing to do with a lack of monetization. On normal channels, things like super thanks and comments are active to encourage community engagement, but kids' channels fall under very strict international child safety policies. YouTube legally has to restrict these community features to protect minors online. It is purely a safety measure, guys, not a financial penalty. The traditional ad revenue, the money paid out by advertisers to run commercials before and during the stream, is still flowing heavily into these channels.
But hey, you don't just have to take my word for it. Our sources provide the ultimate proof using a tool called the YouTube Channel Monetization Checker, which you can find over on fixmytube.com. When you plug the URL of these massive kids channels, like nnn TV, into this tool, it definitively confirms that they are fully monetized. The lack of a join button doesn't matter even a little bit. They are earning substantial ad revenue directly from Google AdSense. So that myth is officially busted. The money is very, very real.
All right, Section 3, Scripting with ChatGPT, the one-click story engine.
Okay, writing scripts from scratch is tedious, but you don't actually have to do it. You just need to know how to speak to the AI. This is the exact prompt formula highlighted in our sources. Create a kid cartoon short video script for children under 13 years old. By starting your prompt this way, you're giving the AI perfectly defined constraints. You are telling it exactly what demographic to target and what format you need. It sets the tone, the vocabulary, and the pacing perfectly for a younger audience.
When you run this prompt, the output is just beautifully structured. It generates consistent characters, giving them a face your audience can actually connect with, but most importantly, it breaks the story down into actions and dialogue, giving you precise visual cues in bite-sized 6-second scenes. It basically acts as a storyboard artist and a scriptwriter all rolled into one, turning a broad concept into highly repeatable micro-actions that are incredibly easy to animate later.
Now, let's see how this builds into an actual content strategy. This is an incredible insider trick from the source material. Once you have your initial prompt perfectly dialed in with your characters and scene links, you do not need to rewrite it for the next upload. You simply type the words "next story" into ChatGPT. The AI remembers all your parameters, your characters, and your formatting, and it instantly generates a brand new adventure. This clever hack allows you to build an endless, infinite content pipeline without ever starting from scratch. It's pure gold.
Section 4. Animating with YT Create, bringing the script to life. Now, what's really interesting about this workflow is just how seamless it actually is. You literally open the YT Create app, copy the 6-second visual prompt that ChatGPT just gave you, and paste it right into the app's AI generation tool. You tap Generate Video, and within seconds, the AI gives you multiple options. You just select the best output, and with one tap, it's added directly to your editing timeline. One click turns simple text into broadcast-ready animation, and then you just repeat this for each 6-second scene your script provided.
But here is a crucial detail, especially if you're going to be making a lot of these. Generating AI animation takes a ton of processing power, and sometimes apps limit how much you can actually create during peak hours. Well, our sources point out a massive hack here. YouTube actually allows for unlimited AI generation specifically between midnight and 9 a.m. By doing your heavy generation work during this nighttime and early morning window, you can completely bypass any generation limits and pump out as many scenes as you need. How crazy is that?
Once your scenes are all generated, it's time for the final polish. Right inside the YT Create app, you stitch your generated scenes together in chronological order. You can easily drag and drop built-in transition effects between the clips to make the story flow super smoothly. Finally, when you go to export, make sure to select 60 frames per second and export in high resolution, either 1080p or even 4K if your phone can handle it. Exporting at these high settings ensures that your AI animation looks incredibly crisp, fluid, and highly professional.
Section 5. Setting up for success. Optimizing the back end.
First things first, don't just upload from the main mobile app. You want to open your web browser and go directly to studio.youtube.com. Once you're in your creator dashboard, look for the settings gear icon, usually down at the bottom left. Click that, select the channel settings menu, and get ready to update your basic info and advanced settings tabs. This is exactly where we tell the algorithm who this channel is actually for.
So the crucial point is getting these exact parameters locked in. Under country of residence, you absolutely must select USA. This is what signals the algorithm to push your content to American viewers first. Under audience settings, you have to declare that this is made for kids. Set your channel category to entertainment, and importantly, actually crucially under the new rules, you must check yes for AI-altered content since we used AI to generate the visuals. Locking these settings in is completely non-negotiable for this strategy to work. Finally, we need to fine-tune our searchability. Jump back into ChatGPT and ask it to generate 500 characters of USA-targeted keywords specifically for a kids' cartoon channel. Copy that list and paste those directly into your channel keywords section. And a quick word of reassurance for you, to unlock all of the platform's features, you do have to verify your account with a phone number. But even though you are targeting the USA, you do not need a US SIM card. You can completely and safely verify the channel using your own local mobile number wherever you are in the world. Which leads us to a final thought. We have just explored an entire blueprint provided by our sources, from the billion-view potential to the monetization mechanics to leveraging completely free AI. With these powerful tools becoming so easily accessible, it is fundamentally changing the landscape of content creation. The old barriers to entry, they've completely vanished. So, the real question is, with these free AI tools right on your smartphone, what's actually stopping you from building a global channel tonight? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll see you next time.